3 minutes and 0 seconds, then the screaming starts.
Strike floor security bruiser at 55 meters and keep pressing the objective. You sweep the ionic jet dryer in a scalding arc across fitting room 7. Superheated microbursts catch all 3 rogue paparazzi mid-flash, searing lenses and scorching silk-jacketed ribs. The pack scatters, staggers, then drops hard against the ivory drape walls. Backstage 0 is yours. Holding. Strike lacquer slick trap at 35 meters and keep pressing the objective. Incinerate through the floor security bruiser pack and hold smoke-filled performance flow. You swing the ionic jet dryer toward the spreading lacquer slick. A sustained burst of superheated air flash evaporates the chemical pull, curling the floor vinyl black and harmless. The 2 saboteur seamstresses caught in the periphery of the blast recoil, stitch buffs flickering but still active, they're closing, needles out, threading through the mirror maze toward your position. Strike through the saboteur seamstress pack and hold backstage 0, fitting room. Incinerate floor security bruiser at 70 meters and push forward hard. You sweep the ionic jet dryer in a wide arc. Superheated microbursts rake both saboteur seamstresses, scorching the stitch buffs off their fingers and dropping them hard into the marble. The rogue paparazzi at the far end stagger backward, cameras flashing blind, lenses cracking from the thermal wash. Backstage 0 holds. The labyrinth is yours. Strike rogue paparazzo at 65 meters and keep pressing the objective. Push hard to private gambling den and strike anything in the way. You swing the ionic jet dryer up and rake a blistering microburst across the closer paparazzo at 65 meters. The superheated blast fogs what's left of his lens and drops him into the marble. The second one backpedals, flashing desperate shots that strobe the mirror wall behind you. Both targets are well within the dryer's mid-range sweet spot. The suppression is clean and efficient. You press forward through the wreckage, shattered glass crunching under every step toward the fitting labyrinth's deeper corridors. Avoid the neon gas trap and secure private gambling den. You sweep the ionic jet dryer in a scorching arc. The stumbling paparazzo at 52 meters catches the full burst and folds into the drapery for good. You hold backstage 0, heat haze rolling off the dryer as the saboteur seamstresses close through mirror shards, needle threaders raised. 2 minis left inbound. You slip past the hissing neon gas trap with a ghost. Cut down lacquer slick trap at 55 meters and keep pressing the objective. Strike croupier hitman alpha at 22 meters and keep pressing the objective. You switch to Shear's snipe and send a piercing micro slice downrange at 55 meters. The lacquer slick trap's chemical reservoir splits open and acetone vaporizer fumes from your kit react on contact, neutralizing the slick in a hissing dissolve of varnish and fume. Path forward is clean. The 2 saboteur seamstresses at 62 and 68 meters are exposed without the trap buffering them. You press the advance, marble corridors tightening around you. Cut down saboteur seams. Strike surveillance mirror drone at 26 meters and keep pressing the objective. Shear's snipe cracks once. A single micro-exact slice severs the saboteur seamstress's stitch shield thread midair, leaving her exposed before the second shot punches clean through. The thread buffs binding her partner dissolve instantly. She's naked to the next volley. Your operator presses forward through falling chandelier crystals, boots grinding lacquer dust into the marble. Strike through the saboteur seamstress pack and hold backstage 0. Strike croupier hitman Bravo at 29 meters and keep pressing the objective. Shear's snipe speaks twice. The wounded seamstress drops in a cascade of severed threads, then the blade swings to the second, slicing clean through her stitch shield before she can reweave it. Your operator pivots northwest, locking the rogue paparazzi in the long-range sight picture. One piercing cut disrupts the nearest shooter's camera rig mid-flash, dropping him to the gilded floor. Backstage 0 is yours. Hold the line. Strike rogue paparazzo at 52 meters and keep pressing the objective. Avoid the cocktail waitress, informant alpha, and secure private gambling den. The shears snipe levels on the wounded rogue paparazzo at 52 meters. One piercing micro slice drops the lens rat before he can frame a single shot. The second paparazzo backpedals into a gilded corridor alcove, shutter clicking wildly, but you're already pressing forward through shattered mirror glass toward the fitting labyrinth's heart. The labyrinth is nearly silent now. Fitting room 7 belongs to the avant-garde. Avoid the cocktail waitress, informant bravo, and secure private gambling den. You swing the shears snipe up, but the mag runs dry on the first trigger pull. You hard pivot to the ionic jet dryer, sweeping superheated microbursts across the mirror-lined corridor. The surviving rogue paparazzo's lens shatters in a flash of melting glass, and both saboteur seamstresses stagger as their stitched shields incinerate in the thermal wave. Backstage 0 holds. Bodies and scorched couture thread litter fitting room 7's gilded floor. Push hard to the Incinerate croupier hitman 1 at 30 meters and keep pressing the objective. You surge out of fitting room 7, operator threading the corridor gap at speed. The lacquer slick trap is left behind as you push northwest hard toward the catwalk approaches. Mid-transit. A pair of rogue paparazzi break from a curtained alcove ahead, lenses swinging. The ionic jet dryer answers in 2 savage bursts, superheated air shattering their camera rigs and dropping them in a shimmer of flash-scorched silk. Distance to the Grand Palais main runway is closing fast. Strike cocktail waitress, informant bravo at 38 meters and keep pressing the objective. You torch forward through the velvet gauntlet, ionic jet dryer screaming. The static garment drone swarm banks hard off the atelier roof and catches a full burst of superheated air mid-formation, sending scorched fabric and sparking chassis raining onto the catwalk below. The two downed paparazzi are already behind you, forgotten. The blinding runway lights ahead grow larger as you close half the distance to the Grand Palais main runway. Strike Croupier Hitman 2 at 44 meters and keep pressing the objective. You torch the static garment drone swarm at point-blank range. The ionic jet dryer's superheated microbursts shred the last of the formation into sparking couture ash, chassis fragments raining across the catwalk floor. With the aerial threat vaporized, you surge forward hard through the scorched corridor, closing significant ground toward the Grand Palais main runway. The two rival house enforcers ahead are pulling into tighter contact range, their taunt auras already humming. Avoid the cocktail waitress informant alpha and secure private gambling den. You rack the shears snipe from your hip. Ionic jet dryer's mag is bone dry, and send a piercing micro slice downrange at 58 meters. Enforcer Alpha staggers back through the catwalk smoke, threadwork jacket shredded, neutralized. You press forward hard, closing on the runway approach, Beta still flanking at bearing 352. Strike rival house enforcer Beta at 38. Strike Croupier Hitman 1 at 28 meters and keep pressing the objective. Shears snipe runs dry on the last shot, but that last shot counts. The piercing micro slice catches rival house enforcer Beta center chest, shearing through the taunt baton mid-raise. The enforcer crumples against the runway railing in a cascade of sequins and static. Both enforcer contacts neutralized. The identification window is open. You press forward onto the Grand Palais main runway, spotlights searing overhead, the static garment drone swarm wheeling in from your right flank. Strike cocktail waitress informant Alpha at 32 meters and keep pressing the objective. You vault the gilded rail and drive hard northeast across the scorching runway, ionic jet dryer swinging to bear as the static garment drone swarm banks into your path. A superheated burst shreds the crackling formation, sequins and circuit shards raining down like confetti. The two downed enforcers are already sequins on the catwalk. You don't slow down. The rooftop atelier glass forte looms ahead, 140 meters and closing, its glass facets catching the Paris sky. Strike Croupier Hitman 2, Remnant, at 34 meters and keep pressing the objective. You swing the ionic jet dryer around at bearing 220 and unleash the last of your mag into the lacquer slick trap. Superheated bursts flash vaporize the chemical floor hazard into a harmless acrid haze. With the slick neutralized, you sprint northeast, closing hard on the rooftop atelier glass forte, glass and steel shimmering through the smoke. Avoid the surveillance mirror drone and secure private gambling den. You swap to Shears Snipe and open with a freeze then pierce combo. Heavy freeze spray locks the nearest mannequin sentinel's joint seams rigid, then two cold surgical slices from Shears Snipe punch straight through the chassis. The rogue paparazzo on the scaffold ledge catches a third precision cut across the lens, dropping the camera and the contact. One sentinel still standing inside the fortress glass. Push hard to elevated VIP mezzanine and blast anything in the way. Shears Snipe is dry. You pivot without hesitation, racking the heavy freeze spray and unleashing a point-blank cryo burst straight into the mannequin sentinel's marked joint seams at 28 meters. The daze hits first, joints locking rigid, then you close and drive a second burst through the cracked chassis. The sentinel shatters into porcelain shards and sparking wire across the glass catwalk. Fortress is yours. Strike Velvet Rope Enforcer at 52 meters and keep pressing the objective. You break from the rooftop atelier at a dead sprint, heels clicking against shattered glass as the Paris skyline bleeds gold ahead. A stray saboteur seamstress materializes from a service alcove. Your shears snipe finds her thread-buffed silhouette before she can stitch a single shield, dropping her clean. The golden foyer's gilded archways are visible now, 90 meters out. The director is waiting. Focus everything on the Madame Lux, the house mother. Trigger VIP blind spot focus, pummel it and finish the kill. Haute Couture flow detonates into full effect. The avant-garde shears blur into a prismatic arc of precision cuts, slicing through the director's rotating stitch shield layers like wet silk. Three consecutive strikes land without error, the zero-tolerance deadline passive hammering a free action into the sequence. A final piercing micro-slice drives through the exposed phase and the director de collection folds, his couture silhouette collapsing into unraveled thread and scattered lookbook pages across the golden foyer floor. The foyer falls silent for exactly one breath before something enormous begins to grind awake deeper inside. Mission complete. Adrenaline standing down. Outstanding work, operator. Focus everything on the Grand Appareil. Trigger Haute Couture flow. Strike it and finish the kill. Haute Couture flow ignites. Your rhythm locks into surgical perfection, and you pivot hard on the Grand Appareil, shears snipe leveled at the mechanical camera rig's shutter arm. Two piercing slices cut clean through the lens housing, acetone vaporizer dissolves the anti-flash coating mid-burst, and a final shears snipe drives straight into the exposed aperture core. The colossal press camera shudders, sparks screaming off its chassis, and collapses in a cascade of crumpled bellows and shattered glass plates. The Grand Palais falls silent. The final show will not be announced. Mission complete. Adrenaline standing down. Outstanding work, operator.